What's up, guys? Happy New Year to every one of my subscribers, or otherwise. This is probably the latest Happy New Year greeting you'll get this entire year, but I'm happy to oblige. But anyway, I haven't reviewed any new movies of 2019 so far, so I thought it would be just a good idea to kick right off and talk about one of the most anticipated releases of the month, because it is, in fact, 19 years in the making. So Glass is once again directed by M. Night Shayamalan. It follows up the sequels to both Unbreakable and to Split. In this movie, we find David Dunn, the Horde, once again played by James McAvoy. We find David Dunn, the Horde, and Mr. Glass themselves all confined in this mental institution by a psychiatrist that wants to convince them all that they are not, in fact, super. And the shenanigans ensue, and the bad guys end up teaming up, as the trailers insinuate, forcing David Dunn to use his full superpowered potential. And this movie is honestly a mixed bag for me. I enjoyed a lot of the parts of it, and I didn't like a lot of the stuff towards the end, but I'll get right into it. But basically, I spent the entire week binging and catching up on Shyamalan classics that I had missed. I watched The Sixth Sense, finally. I watched Unbreakable. I watched Split as well. If you want to see reviews for any of those films, let me know down in the comments. But anyway, I loved all of them. The only ones that are connected in this universe are Unbreakable and Split, but they were definitely amazing movies. Well written, well acted, well directed, great themes. So I was excited to see the main characters of those two movies finally, actually be in the same movie and interact, because this story has been teased for, like I said, 19 years. So first of all, getting right into what I liked about this movie were the performances. Sam Jackson, James McAvoy, and Bruce Willis once again give phenomenal performances. I love all their characters, and I love seeing the different interactions they had with each other, because they're both distinct and different personalities, and seeing them all in a room together is really something special, let me say. Although I didn't get as much character interaction between them as I had liked, but I'll save that for the negatives. But anyway, Sam Jackson is one of my favorite movie villains as Mr. Glass of all time, since I've seen Unbreakable last week. James McAvoy is once again phenomenal. It is so amazing. This guy is such a terrific actor. It is so amazing what he can do swapping in and out of these different personalities, because they're all so distinct. You're seeing them played by the same guy, but they never feel like the same person. He does such a good job of making every one of these personalities entertaining, different, and it calls for everything the scene needs in that moment. My favorite has to be Hedwig, though, the 9-year-old boy, etc. He's just my favorite character. He always gave so much laughs when the movie needed comedy, so I absolutely loved James McAvoy. I also really loved Bruce Willis reprising his role after all this time as David Dunn. I really like how the first act really focuses in on his character and where he has been for the last 19 years. It was really cool to see his character after all this time. The second thing I really liked about Glass was the cinematography. M. Night has such a gift with employing the right cinematographers for these movies, because they're shot like a comic book. There are so many direct shots where the framing is just right. You feel like you're glancing directly into a live-action comic book panel, so it really stands up and supports the themes of superheroes and comic books you see throughout the movie. The cinematography was absolutely amazing. Although during the fight scenes, although there's no shaky cam and you can clearly see what's going on, there are a lot of POV shots that got kind of annoying and a little bit repetitive. So that was just a stint that I didn't like about the cinematography, but overall the movie looks great. Also, thing that's really great about Glass is the production design. Every hero is color-coded, and it makes the colors pop, and it really makes you, once again, feel like you're watching a live-action comic book. David Dunn's his character's color is green. The Horde, James McAvoy's character, is yellow, and Mr. Glass is always seen wearing purple. And just seeing all these colors, blesh together, and they never feel like you're watching the same. You never feel like you're watching a run-of-the-mill mundane thriller or action movie. You feel like you're watching a superhero movie because the colors are so vibrant and they pop in every scene, especially in this one scene where they're all together and the psychiatrist is really trying to hone in on them and tell them why she doesn't think they're superheroes, and the psychiatrist's color is pink. and the whole room is covered in pink, pink walls, pink floors, etc. And seeing that color with the whole background of the room mesh with the three character colors of the heroes and villains, you're like, wow, this scene looks gorgeous, it's written pretty well, and it's acted pretty well also. So I really like the production design, the cinematography, and how they tried to basically tie in and have their expanded universe finally conclude. The character interactions were amazing, and yeah, that's basically it for the positives. Now the negatives of this movie, they were so close to greatness. They were this close with the movie, but there's several things that mess it up. First of all, when you watch an M. Night Shyamalan movie like this, you're expecting a twist. A big twist revealed at the end that really makes you pop and say, wow, this story was ingenious. There are a couple twists in this movie, and they're all equally weak. I was able to guess about 2 of them, and the last one was such a deus ex machina, I just sat back in the theater and I was like, this is the best they could do. This is how they conclude this trilogy that's been built up over 19 years. The twists are extremely weak. Not only are they somewhat predictable, but they just don't feel earned, and they feel awfully lazy. I absolutely hated what they did with the ending of this movie because it doesn't do the characters justice. It was awesome seeing all 3, the Overseer, the Horde, and Mr. Glass. It was so cool seeing all 3 of them in a movie finally, but when you don't send off these characters in a concluding chapter of this trilogy, when you don't send off the characters right, you feel like you just wasted your time and you don't know what they were doing in the writing room. The ending was weak, the plot twists were weak. There was a lot more action in these movies than what I was expecting, and that was in Split and Unbreakable, but it was kind of weakly done. It was not very exciting. There wasn't really any choreography. The entire fight scenes are just Bruce Willis struggling and wrestling with James McAvoy. It wasn't really exciting stuff. So the ending was weak, the action was pretty bad. It doesn't do as good of a job holding your attention throughout the first and second acts, although every act feels like it belongs to a different character. While that's a plus in one sense because a lot of different storylines are explored, you never feel like one character's arc is fully fleshed out in this movie. You have the supporting cast from the other 2 movies coming back, and they get a lot more screen time than they should. Mr. Glass is the title character of the movie, and he doesn't get enough screen time, although Sam Jackson once again kills it as him. I don't feel like he had enough to do in this movie to warrant being the title character of this concluding chapter of the trilogy. So yeah, weak ending, pretty boring action, and really, even for an M. Night Shyamalan movie, to call this movie a slow burn would be an overstatement. It just didn't capture my attention like it would. So I'm very much in the middle of the road with this movie. I'm going to give Glass 3 out of 5 stars overall. It had its entertaining moments. It was cool seeing all these characters come together, but the story was just not as strong, and the twists and the action just didn't come together in a very, very underwhelming third act for me. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching this video, for getting this far. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed it. I am Pac. Thanks so much for hearing my perspective, and I'm out for now.